Welcome back. For months, we have followed the heroin epidemic that has spread like wildfire throughout our region. And as we look at it, it is moving far beyond the inner cities. It's into suburbs and into our schools, and it's a trend picking up as people experiment with prescription narcotics and then quickly move to heroin because it is more available and, frankly, far cheaper. Now, the results, they have been deadly, with police looking for ways to stop the spread and also to save lives. Well, tonight, we want to introduce you to two men trying to spread the word through a very personal story. Jeffrey Veatch, he lost his son Justin to heroin in 2008, just as he was starting his senior year at Yorktown High School. Jeffrey and Sean Gallagher, they have produced a new documentary called Whispering Spirits about Justin and about the tragic impact of heroin. I spoke with both of them earlier this week. It fits so many common storylines that we've heard. A terrific kid gets caught up in something before everyone can really put their arms completely around it, and even when they do, and even when you think you've got it, the tug of this and the pull can have such horrific consequences. And before we even get into the film, tell people a little bit about your son, the son that you knew, that who loved the sports, who loved, had a capacity for the arts, for music, etc. We're going to see pictures of him in a little bit, but as you remember your son, how do you?
Well, he's an amazing young man. I mean, of course, every parent has a child, their pride and joy. Justin we had an inkling early on that he would be involved in music because he was drawn to musical things, the keyboard, toy keyboard, things like that. And as he got older, he took part in all sports, all kinds of sports, baseball, basketball. He ran on his cross-country team. But he had another passion for another sport, which was kind of outside of the school. It was skateboarding, and we sent him to summer camps for a few years, and he honed his skills, and he was exceptional. He did all these neat tricks on the skateboard, and had a great many friends that shared that sport. But he had another passion, the passion that trumped all others, and that was music beyond school. He played trumpet in the elementary school, but he learned piano. At age 6, he was getting piano lessons, playing recitals, and but as he got older, that expanded to all instruments, guitar, and he just blew us away with his abilities. And by the time he was 14, he had written songs. He went through a phase where he did hardcore, music, and he created a band called the Warsaw Pact, which was really hardcore stuff. But he had a touch of all this nice, fine music inside it, interwoven, and he eventually wrote his own songs and began to tell stories through lyrics, and he began to record.
And you actually, even though there's a 5-year difference between you and son, you knew of each other on the periphery, right? I mean, you were the older kid, but at these punk shows in Yorktown or whatever, he was a familiar face.
Yeah, it was a really tight-knit community. The punk rock community might scare some parents, but in so many ways it actually was our creative outlet. It was the safe space, actually, for us, the space that we went to stay away from drugs, actually. So I got to know Justin really through his music.
I want to show a clip, and again, people know these stories, but one of the things for the documentary is you put a human face on it, and I think you very courageously and you very artfully put a life to this. And for a lot of parents out there who sometimes feel that they're isolated and people can't understand what they're going through, some of this story and this story arc here may hit very close to home here. And again, this clip talks and really puts a lot to what we just discussed as to who he was and how music was such a huge part of his life.
Justin's music evolved as he began working on his own. He created a project band called the Ivoryton Piano Factory.
I used to sit on the steps going down to the basement without Justin knowing, because he never wanted me to hear him, working on a piece or finishing it up. I would have to hide, and I would just listen on the staircase. It blew me away every time. So come out, you've got nothing to...
Well, music was it. It kind of consumed us as it consumed him, and
he brought so much creativity in a short amount of time. We'll never know what would have ended up.
So he's got a precocious ability, but like a lot of kids, he fell in with a crowd and he started to experiment, and it was pot originally. It's like 13, around that age?
13, 14, yes.
But it quickly started escalating to more.
Well,
About how long did you fully realize that this wasn't just, you know, a kid messing around, that this was getting far more serious?
Well, we were, you know, of course, at age 13, he had black X's on the back of his hand when he performed. And I asked him what that is. It's straight edge, no drugs. He was taking a stand at age 13, and it goes back to his attending the DARE program when he was 10 years old in 5th grade. So that message stayed with him, and he was staying away from it, but somewhere along the line he decided he would experiment with marijuana, and we had many a family battle over that, and we kind of thought we won the war when he stopped the marijuana, but unknown to us, he was going on to other things and experimenting with pills, and I can't even give you the names of all the things that he was taking. And it evolved over time, but he did a good job hiding his tracks. We really think to this day he was self-medicating, had a lot of anxieties, as a lot of creative kids do, and some of them fall through the cracks. And he got in over his head, and turns out one night after we knew what was going on and sent him to rehab, he spent a month there. We thought we were doing everything we could as parents. But a few months later, after he made up all his schoolwork and everything, he spent the day with friends, ended up at home doing his homework, but somewhere along the line he had sniffed through a straw pure heroin, a small amount, and he never woke up.
And we're going to have more from that interview in just a moment. We come back from break. But first, we wanted to bring you into the conversation. I want you to share with us, what should we do to stem heroin abuse? And you cannot exaggerate about the impact it is having on communities throughout our region. And we need all the good ideas that we can come up with. So please head over to Facebook and Twitter and sound off. Now, while you're there, please, we also invite you to share a personal story if you have one. Has heroin impacted or touched your life and the life of those close to you? We want to hear your stories so that we can learn from all of them and hopefully try and put an end to this epidemic. All right, coming up next, everyone, much more from the makers of that documentary.